From the drawing of the one-cylinder water-cooled motor block, the pattern has been visualized, and the cores have been visualized, including the co-path and the two sections of the drag half of the crankcase and barrel core. The co-path of the water jacket core, the drag half of the water jacket core, and the cores for the intake and exhaust ports. The need for ram-up and setup cores has been decided, and these cores have been visualized. The pattern and all the core boxes have been accurately laid out, and the layout has been checked and okayed. The next step is to construct the pattern. Use the layout as a guide. Constant checking against the layout will prevent mistakes. As each piece of stock is cut, check it on the layout. Make sure it has been cut to correct size before going ahead with the job. Check the finished halves of the pattern on the layout. Check all dimensions, bosses, fillets, and core prints. Be sure there is a fillet or crush strip on every core print. When the pattern is shellacked, give it a final inspection. Now, get out stock to construct the core boxes. Be sure to check shapes and contours constantly on the layout. Check the contours of the finished core boxes against the layout. This is the master core box for the main section of the drag half of the crankcase and barrel. It has two loose pieces. Check the loose pieces. Be sure they fit snugly in the box and conform to the layout. When the box is checked and a metal box has been made from it, have a test core made to make sure that it can be drawn without trouble. Then check the core on the layout and examine all the corners and edges closely. Sometimes a corner may break or crumble, showing that there should be a fillet at that point in the core box. Make any corrections which may be indicated by the check. Check the master core box for the co-path of the crankcase and barrel in the same way. Have a test core made from the metal core box. Check the core. The working core box for the upper section of the drag half of the crankcase is checked next. check test cores just as was done with the other cores. These are the working core boxes for the water jacket. Check the core box for the cope half of the water jacket. Check the test core. The box for one section of the drag half of the water jacket is next. Every step is double-checked by making a test core. The core box with the loose piece, the other section of the drag half of the water jacket, is checked against the layout. And then the core is checked. This is an irregular shape, and a check against the contour of the layout assures accuracy. The two core sections of the drag half of the water jacket are put together as they will be when they are pasted up later, and then are checked to see if they fit together evenly. Now the port core boxes must be inspected. Check both halves. And check the test core. Check the other port core box in the same way. The working boxes for the ram-up and the setup cores are all that are left to check. This is the ram-up core box, and the core made in it. This is for the drag half of the setup core. The test core checks OK. This is the last working core box for the cope half of the setup core and its test core. The cope part of the setup core is put in place on top of the drag half to see that they fit evenly. The next step is to have the core room make a test assembly of all the cores, as they will be set in the mold, to make sure they all fit. First, the two sections of the drag half of the water jacket core must be pasted together. Then the water jacket core unit is pasted in place in the setup core. Next, the two port cores are pasted in place in the drag half of the setup core. This makes one complete unit of the drag half of the water jacket and the drag half of the setup core. Finally, the cope half of the water jacket core and the cope half of the setup core are pasted together. Now, all the cores can be assembled and the assembly checked. Later, when this job goes into production, jigs will be used to assure accuracy in core assembly. First, the ram-up core. The upper section of the drag half of the crankcase core is set into the ram-up core. Chaplets support the water jacket core. Then the water jacket and setup core assembly goes in place. And the drag half of the crankcase and barrel core. This completes the assembly of the drag core. Now the cope half of the crankcase and barrel core goes in place. A chaplet supports the cope half of the water jacket core. The cope half of the water jacket and setup core completes the assembly. The assembly checks OK. That means that the pattern and core boxes are ready to go to the foundry. In the foundry, a sample casting is made. Inspection shows that the casting for this one-cylinder motor block meets all specifications because the pattern maker designed and constructed a workable pattern and core boxes to accurate dimensions.